So now I would like to invite our first keynote speaker to come to me, Laura Wathen. Laura is the CFO of Funding Exchange, and Matt just talked about that the liquidity is more in the market, funding becomes easier, and Laura has successfully completed her Series B. Funding Exchange has been one of the startups we invested in about 7-8 years ago, and it was the first time as angel investors were allowed to invest in a great company which Katrin Herling founded about 7-8 years ago. So I hand over to you now, Laura, to tell your story of growth and maybe share your tips with other entrepreneurs, what you've learned and what can others take from your experience.
Thank you, Suzanne. Hello everyone, it's a delight to meet. I've met some of you already and I look forward to chatting later. As Suzanne said, I'm CFO at Funding Exchange, which means I didn't found a business, and I've also only been there 6 months, so my ability to talk from bitter experience about some of the journey is second hand, but I've spent the majority of my career in and around the startup ecosystem, first as an investor and now as a finance partner for high growth businesses, so I should have some interesting things to say. I think it goes without saying that we're probably under Chatham House rules here, so and I'd love this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have questions or if you want to jump in, please do. So I thought I'd just cover off 3 things and speak briefly so we can get back to the love of drinks and wine. Firstly is sort of what Funding Exchange does in our mission and why we are what we are today and that. Our funding journey and what it took to get us here and our Series B. Can you hear me better?
That's much better, much better.
Sorry. Did you catch any of that? Cool, alright. I'm going to talk about Funding Exchange, I'm going to talk about how we fundraise, and I'm going to talk about our Series B. So Funding Exchange has always had the same mission, and we've evolved as a business over the 8 years that we've been part of this circle. But it is to solve the problem of credit for small businesses. A lot of us in this room today run small businesses, run cash generative small businesses, run high growth small businesses, and probably deal regularly with the frustrations of trying to bank and trying to solve some of those cash crunch problems. Funding Exchange was built from the belief that we can use data to help banks and lenders solve these problems in a quicker, swifter fashion, which will unlock much needed capital for the UK economy. We started by solving that problem by building a marketplace to allow businesses to instantly access funding, and at the core of that was the ability to use data sources to deliver instant decisioning, something that at the time it was believed would not be possible given the level of complexity of the data set that surrounds a small business. If we think about the VC industry, that is ultimately built on the complexity of trying to understand and back small businesses, and that requires huge brains. So you can see where some people think on that. We proved them wrong. We built a flourishing marketplace, and 1 million businesses later, we are a critical part of delivering that infrastructure to a small economy. COVID made us realise that our mission was vital, but building a marketplace wasn't the way to solve the problem. And as part of that, we pivoted into delivering SaaS services into banks and lenders, so white labelling our technology, that ability to provide an instant credit decision at the various points in the credit cycle, providing greater information at the point of lending, using that information to then power decisions through the sort of credit life cycle, so allowing banks and lenders to make better decisions around portfolio managing, getting us to a position where we are now live with 5 banks of varying sizes and stripes. We've delivered an average of 300% ROI in terms of our value add, delivered from our ability to help banks lend better and reduce risk. So very exciting times. Through all of this, we have been backed by a series of wonderful investors and from a couple of different groups, so that's the second piece that I wanted to talk about. We would not be here today, Katrin had to mention this specifically, she is absolutely right. We're not from the support. People like Suzanne at an early stage of our business when, as I said, we laboured against incomprehension from conventional investors. Our seed investors were a critical part of our early journey, providing insight and support and cash at the time that it was most needed. As we hit momentum in our marketplace product, we were able to go out to the market and raise a Series A backed by Foresight, Downing, and Gresham House, two VCTs. We're proud to say that Foresight has backed us every round we've done since 2019. I'm in the process of closing their investment in our Series B right now, which I'm super excited about. As we pivoted into delivering solutions to banks and lenders, we encountered a challenge that I think anybody who tries to sell into a massive organisation encounters, which is that things take time. And in a VC-backed growth cycle, that can be challenging, delivering against those expectations. It was at that point that one of our core clients, Barclays, stepped into the breach. A recognition of our criticality to their intent to digitally transform